Your test is going to cover sections 5.4 and 5.5, starting with the first section of your review. You are determining the dimensions of each of the given matrices. For number 1, you have the matrix -2, 5, 0, 8, 3, -4. You have 1, 2, 3 rows, and you have 1, 2 columns. So this is a 3 by 2. For number 2, you have the matrix 11, 2, -5, 4, 5, 9, -7, 3, -9. For this one, you have 1, 2, 3 rows by 1, 2, 3 columns. So this is just a 3 by 3. Then for number 3, you're given -1, 0, 1. So this is a 1 by 1, 2, 3. And then with 4, you have -4, 5. You have 2 rows, 1 column. So this is a 2 by 1. For numbers 5 and 6, you are stating the system of equations given the augmented matrix. For number 5, you have an X column, a Y column, a Z column, and an answer column. So that means you're going to have in your first equation from your first row, 0x, you don't need to write that down, plus 4y plus 9z is equal to -2. Moving to your next row, you're going to have a 2x, a y, and a 5z set equal to 6. And then for your third row, you have -3x minus y plus 0z, you don't need to write that down, is equal to 8. For number 6, you have an X column, a Y column, and an answer column. So this gives you 2x plus y is equal to -4, and 3x plus 7y is equal to 6. For 7 and 8, you are stating the augmented and coefficient matrix given the system of equations. For number 7, you're given x plus 2y is equal to 7, and this should be 6x minus 4y is equal to 1. From your first equation, that x has an invisible 1 in front of it, so it's understood that that coefficient is 1. To write the augmented matrix, you are going to have 1, 2, and 7 from your first row or first equation in your first row. Then your second row is going to be 6, -4, and 1. We put that line in front of that 7 and that 1 to designate that those are your answers. You can also use those vertical 3 dots as well. For your coefficient matrix, you are going to get rid of your answer portion. So it is just going to be the 1, 2, 6, -4. For number 8, you're given the system 3x minus 8y plus z is equal to 9, 3y minus 8z is equal to 12, and 4x plus y minus 3z is equal to -5. Now you're missing the x in that middle equation, so you can add in a 0x plus 3y is equal to, or minus 8z is equal to 12. That's fine. To give your augmented matrix, we're going to have 3, -8, 1, and 9 as your answer for your first row. Then you'll have 0, 3, -8, and 12 for your second row. And then 4, 1, -3, with the answer of -5 for your third. For your coefficient matrix, you are just going to have your coefficient part, so the answers are not going to be there. So that's going to be that 3, -8, 1, 0, 3, -8, and 4, 1, -3. For your next, all right, so we're going to use those matrices for A through E for your next part. You're just going to plug in each of these matrices that you're asking about and simplify the expressions. So for number 9, you're doing E minus A. Before you even start this, it's subtraction. So remember, with subtraction and addition, you need the same dimensions in order for you to simplify. E is a 2 by 3. A is a 2 by 3. They are the same, so you can just subtract them. So we're going to take E, which is the -2, 3, 1, 4, 0, 0, and subtract it with A, which is the 3, -6, 5, 2, 8, and 0. So remember, with these, you are going to subtract the same position number from each of the matrices. So it's going to be -2 minus 3, then 3 minus -6, and then 1 minus 5. Moving down to your next row, you have 4 minus 2, 0 minus 8, and 0 minus 0. Not 0 minus 8, 0 minus 0. So from here, you're just going to simplify. So that -2 minus 3 gives you -5. -3 minus -6 turns into -3 plus 6. Or sorry, 3 minus 6, -6, turns into 3 plus 6. So that's 9. Then 1 minus 5 gives you -4. 4 minus 2 is 2. 0 minus 8 is -8. And 0 minus 0 is 0. For number 10, we're doing 5 times B. So this is going to be 5 times the matrix of -4, 2, 1. So that 5 gets multiplied by each of those numbers. So you're going to do 5 times -4, 5 times 2, and 5 times 1. So that will leave you with -20, 10, 5 for your answer. For number 11, you're doing 6A plus 5B. Now, A is a 2 by 3. B is a 3 by 1. You cannot add these because they are not the same dimensions. So you have no solution for this one. For number 12, you have -2 times B times 4 times D. If you multiplied in that -2 to B, it keeps it as the same dimensions, which are a 3 by 1. If you multiplied in that 4 to D, it keeps it as the same dimensions, which is a 3 by 3. When you multiply two matrices, your two middle numbers must be identical in order for you to multiply. In this case, they are not, so you are giving no solution for this answer as well. For number 13, you're given D plus A. We're changing this, and we're going to do A times D instead. Okay, so A is a 2 by 3. D is a 3 by 3. Your two middle numbers are the same. So this means that your answer, you can do this, and your answer is going to be a 2 by 3. So A is that matrix of 3, -6, 5, 2, 8, 0. And D is the matrix 0, 1, -2, 4, 2, -2, -4, -8, -1. So we're going to go row by column here. So we're going to go first row, first column. 3 times 0 is 0. -6 times 4 is -24. 5 times -4 is -20. That gives us our first number in our matrix. Next, we're going to go first row, second column. So that's 3 times 1, which is 3. -6 times 2 is -12. 5 times -8 is -40. Next, first row, third column. So 3 times -2 is -6. -6 times -2 is +12. 5 times -1 is -5. Now we're moving down to your second row. We're still going to go first column, second column, third column. So second row, first column, 2 times 0 is 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 5 times -4 is -20. Or wow, I'm not doing this correctly, I'm sorry. 2 times 0 is 0. 8 times 4 is 32. 0 times -4 is 0. Now we're going bottom row, middle column. So 2 times 1 is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. 0 times -8 is 0. Lastly, bottom row, third column. 2 times -2 is -4. 8 times -2 is -16. 0 times -1 is 0. So we're just going to simplify this now. You have 0 minus 24, which is -24. Minus 20 is -44. Then you have 3 minus 12, which is -9. -9 minus 40 is -49. Then you have -6 plus 12, which is 6. 6 minus 5 is 1. Bottom row, you have 0 plus 32 plus 0, which is 32. Then 2 plus 16 plus 0, which is 18. And -4 minus 16 plus 0, which is -20. So that gives you your 2 by 3 matrix. That is your answer. For your last question, you have 1/4 times D. So that's going to be the 1/4 times the matrix 0, 1, -2, 4, 2, -2, -4, -8, -8, -1. So we're going to do 1/4 times 0, 1/4 times 1, 1/4 times 2, 1/4 times 4, 1/4 times 2, then 1/4 times -2. For your last row, you're going to have 1/4 times -4, then 1/4 times -8, and 1/4 times -1. So this is going to give us 0, 1/4, 1/2, 1, 1/2, -1/2, -1, -2, -1/4. Yeah, this is a -2. So this would be negative as well. Your test that is on 5.4 and 5.5 will have everything that you see on your review. You're going to be multiplying matrices, adding matrices, subtracting matrices. You might be getting some that give you no solution. You're going to be given the dimensions of a matrix. You're also going to be writing the augmented matrix and the coefficient matrix from the system that's given to you, and then going from your augmented matrix to a system.